and welcome to the Weekly Rant. Well, our rants come to life for you. This is my partner Steve, I'm Jimmy, and let's get right into it here. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, talking about last week's football, and Tom Brady working his rookies. Looking at Aaron Dobson, Julian Edelman, Kendall Tompkins. How he's doing it, we have no idea. But the pass that he's had since 2003?
2001, actually, since Mo Lewis knocked Drew Bledsoe out of that game. But you know how Tom Brady's doing it? He's had a good connection with Julian Edelman. Edelman's been around for 2 years already. They have a good rapport. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but you knew they were going to come together with Tompkins and Dobson. I mean, Tompkins had 2 touchdowns last week. He has the most targets on the team. And with Gronkowski and Amendola coming back, the Patriots are really lucky to be 4-0, but they can really go the distance with
How
this.
about Aaron Hernandez? I heard he's coming back too.
I heard that too, but in the jail league, actually.
Excellent. He'll live up the hype there. Peyton Manning, 16 touchdowns through 4 games. That's an NFL record. Don't know if he's going to catch up to Tom Brady's record. Not sure yet, but it's looking pretty good, to be honest with you. He's got Demaryius Thomas, Eric Decker, Wes Welker. Him and Wes Welker. I don't know. Brady's got to be hating himself.
The Patriots wouldn't pay him the money that he wanted. He went to the Broncos. And, I personally think that Peyton Manning can break the record. He's proven that this is like a Madden video game. It's nothing new to him. He knows what he's doing. At the age of 37, he's by far the best player. Did you hear, actually, that during one of the audibles against the Eagles, he actually yelled Papa John as opposed to
I did not hear that.
Yeah, the linebacker of the Eagles was laughing in the middle. He's like, did he just say Papa John's? So,
is that going to get him an extra 1 million pizzas to deliver?
Probably 2. But you know what? Peyton Manning's just having fun out there. And these receivers are great. Julius Thomas didn't play football until like his sophomore year of high school. And, Decker, Thomas, and Welker, geez, I wish the Jets had one of those.
We're going to get to the Jets. Hang on a second with that. It's the whole team with the Broncos. I mean, literally straight from Peyton Manning down to Prater. I mean, you look at Prater, he's the #1 kicker people pick up in the fantasy league. Guy hasn't missed a kick all year long. And he's hit, I think, the most over 50. He hit 2 this weekend, over 50 yards.
I mean, I think Greg the Leg is going to have something to say about that next week. But, even their best defensive player, Von Miller, still hasn't come back yet from suspension after he tried to do some concoction with his urine. And Champ Bailey has missed 2 out of the first 3 games as well, or 2 out of the first 4 games. So they're still not back to full strength. They are a very good team. And honestly, from the day one, I thought Broncos were going to the Super Bowl, probably going to win. And now there's nothing stopping me there.
Do we know when these 2 teams meet at all?
Broncos and
Patriots?
Broncos and Patriots meet Week 10 or Week 11, right after the Broncos face the Chiefs, who are also a surprising 4-0.
Now, scrolling down, looking around, we have... that's going to be...
It's Week 11.
That's Week 11. Well, we're on Week 11 here. So
it's Week 10.
Either way, it's going to be quite the matchup, borderline Super Bowl. These teams are going to keep going at the way they're going. They're both 4-0. I mean, all right, so we talked about this earlier before the show, that the Patriots really have been squeaking by with their wins, but the Broncos have been blowing everybody out of the water. And it's just... It makes me speechless to see what they're doing, opposed to any other team in the past 10, 15 years. I mean, even when the Patriots went undefeated, they really weren't blowing teams out of the water the way the Broncos are doing it.
But let's look at who the Broncos played their first few games so far. They had a game against the Giants in which, the first half was pretty close, but in the second half, the Giants lost all control. You had the Eagles, in which last week, again, they just can't contain Peyton Manning.
Well, the Giants game, that was during the game in the first quarter. That was the only time so far this season the Giants actually held the lead.
Well, first time for everything, even
might be the last time at this point. I got news for you.
I mean, the Broncos' schedule hasn't been that tough. Whereas, the Patriots are 4-0, and we discussed this earlier. They faced a weak Jet team in which they barely squeaked by, a weak Buck team in which, up until the second quarter, they were losing, and then they almost lost to the Bills. They should have lost to the Bills. They even should have lost to the Jets. And you know what? If it wasn't for Mike Smith and his coaching school, they should have lost to the Falcons on Sunday night. They should be 1-3.
Well, speaking of the Falcons, we have the Jets coming up. The Jets are playing the Falcons on Monday Night Football, 2-2. Falcons are 1-3. And Yeah, that's going to be a good Monday Night Football. The Falcons have something to play for here in this game. They do not want to go 1-5. That goes without saying. No team ever does. I'm sorry, 1-4. No team ever does. But I think really the Jets. Let's talk about both these teams right here. The Jets and the Giants. We can spend some time here. Two local teams. You can start with the Jets. Monday Night Football. What's your take on this?
Well, the spread's 9.5 in favor of the Falcons, and I think Vegas got it right. The Falcons are going to blow them up. I have, in my survivor pool, I'm picking the Falcons. I never go pick against my team, but I know that I have to go against the Jets this week because the Falcons will win. The Falcons are a good team. They have a great quarterback in Matty Ice, and despite him throwing a pick on 4th and 7 from the 10 on Sunday night, they're a very good team. And with they may get Steven Jackson back this week, Julio Jones, Tony Gonzalez, Roddy White, his ankle's getting better, great offensive line, and they have a pretty good front four with Osi and John Abraham. They have a pretty good team going on. So I think the Falcons are just going on their home turf. The Jets, Geno Smith can't get out of his own way. I mean, him and Mark Sanchez, they really are the butt boys. So, I mean, that fumble was...
Mark Sanchez into...
That fumble
you got back-to-back years of butt fumbles. I mean, he has his own butt fumble.
You know what, though? It's not as bad as the butt slide with John Villar of the Houston Astros.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Kind of reminds me of the Duke-Michigan State picture in which Christian Leitner's head is right at Michigan State player's butt. So... I mean, quite frankly, at least we don't have the worst
jerseys. I might get that picture up here next week.
We don't have the worst butt thing, but we'll talk about Duke later. No, I'm kidding. We will not.
We'll get to that. I got 1 minute. We'll talk about Duke lacrosse, actually.
Oh.
Now, actually, with the Jets and Geno Smith, this is tailing right into the Giants. The both with Geno Smith and Geno Smith and Eli Manning. They are abysmal. They do share number 1 and 2 in the leagues together. In turnovers. Eli, 9 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Geno Smith is right behind him. 8 interceptions, 2 fumbles. That is fantastic. That is great. We are the best, I'd say, in the state, but truth be told, they're just New Jersey football teams. And actually, now at this point, I'm happy to say it. They're New Jersey football teams, not New York football teams, the way we're going here. And I mean, playing against the Eagles, you took that well with the Falcons. What do you think on the Eagles?
I think the Giants will win this game. You know what? The Giants are saying all the right things. And, I mean, they said it all after Week 3, but I don't think they really believed it going into KC. KC was a 3-0 team. They've been pretty dominant throughout. I mean, they manhandled the Eagles Week 3, the Chiefs. They look like a good team. And you know what? Once Dexter McCluster had that 89-yard run back, and that was ridiculous.
That was filthy. I wanted to actually hear Chris Berman make that call.
I don't want to hear Chris Berman announce anything.
See him go through. I wanted to see that. I mean, that was traditional. I'll go game day 98. Press the back button. Guy does a 360 around him. That was awesome.
I mean, once that happened, you knew the Giants were going downhill, and they never scored another touchdown for the rest of the game. I mean, against the Panthers Week 3, the Giants, I mean, David Wilson had that nice run that got called back on the hold, and who knows what would have happened if David Wilson didn't jinx himself by doing the backflip before the penalty was called. You just don't know what's going to happen. And I personally think the Giants can win this game. They really, I mean, the Eagles are always a big game. This could be what gets them back on track.
Now, but penalties have not been the Giants' problem really this year.
They've only been the Jets.
That's been the Jets. I mean, you're looking at the game where they almost broke the record. I think they had 20 penalties. The record was 22.
I was there. I saw them all.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I did see the picture. That was a good picture of you, and yeah, it looked nice.
I'm a good photographer, you know. It is what I can. Or me and selfies at the schoolyard.
There it is. Excellent. Yes. Now, as far as the Eagles go, though, honestly, in my opinion, I'm looking to see LaShawn McCoy just take off. I mean, there's nothing there for the Giants. The Giants are just there. That's all it is. They're on the field. They're there. They're not doing anything. Well, I mean, it looks like Tuck is out, too. Looks like Tuck got hurt.
Well, he's probably complaining too much. He's
a little baby. He cannot play a full season. He can't. It's just, and their defensive line, it's not good.
I mean, I think the big issue with the Giants, maybe you can talk more about, is their offensive line. I mean, their injuries have been ravaged.
And that's the last thing I want to see. You see Eli scramble out of the pocket. He can't do it. He just can't.
Well, he does a pretty good job at ordering Dunkin' Donuts.
That is a great thing he does. That is a great thing
I love that.
And he pays for everybody else, too, when he does it.
They're flabbergasted throughout, so... But I don't know. I really think the Giants can pull this off. Chip Kelly's offense has been kind of a flop. Everyone remembers when Steve Spurrier came with the run and gun when he came to Washington. Everyone was so excited about that too. And that kind of fizzled out very quickly. I mean, you know why? Because it didn't work. College offenses do not work in the NFL. That's why Steve Spurrier is coaching South Carolina. That's why Nick Saban's coaching at Alabama. They couldn't make it. Bobby Petrino. He's in Western Kentucky because he couldn't stay on his motorcycle with that girlfriend.
Western Kentucky. Jimmys Rants will actually be at the Army-Western Kentucky game on November 9th. That is Army's final game of the season, so you will see some updates from that game as well.
Are you sure that's going to happen with the recent government shutdown?
I am not sure. There is something going on with that. I did hear about that. Before we get to that, I will say, side note, Western Kentucky has by far the coolest helmets. They are...
Wait. You're talking to me about coolest helmets? What about Maryland? They got the pride of the flag on their helmets.
We got the jersey there. Let's leave that alone. Let alone the jersey. You got the Boston Red Sox up here. Hey, the two most losing franchises back here with the Chicago Cubs, nonetheless.
Yeah, and the Mets in front of us. But
now what's going on with Army and the actual government shutdown? I heard about that this afternoon around 3 o'clock or so that something's going on. They may not play the next game, actually.
Well, Air Force Navy, which is supposed to go on Saturday. Air Force is a little different. Navy is privately funded, so they'll probably be able to go on for a little bit. But the Air Force, they're going to make a decision on this on Thursday. There's a very good chance that game's not going forward, which is a shame because, I mean, everyone enjoys watching those military academies duel it out in football. Because you know what they're known for? It's their football. So I mean, it'll be very disappointing if they don't get through. If they don't get the games through. But I have a feeling the last government shutdown in '95 went 21 days. I don't think it's going to go much longer than that, if at all. I mean, but then again, Obamacare. But you know what? This is not a political show. Let's get off this. Let's go back to the Giants.
So the Giants now they're coming in. They're obviously 0-4. If they lose this game, 0-5. They're going to be going into a short week coming up next Thursday, and they'll be going 0-5. I mean, you're looking at possibly going 0-6 just because of a short week. They clearly need all the time in the world to work on their game.
I don't think it's because of a short week. I just don't think because the talent is fully there. And they got a tough draw in Week 6 against the Bears. I mean, facing the Eagles in which a rivalry game, and then going to the Bears in which...
It's a Soldier Field. That's not an easy place to play, especially on a 4-day week.
And Mark Trestman's really done a good job with the Bears. I mean, granted, they just got smacked by the Detroit Lions on Sunday. The score doesn't really reflect how bad it was. But the Chicago Bears have really turned around. Jay Cutler has learned not to throw interceptions, not to get sacked.
Yeah, but you know what? They're waiting for that one mistake by him. That's all they want is that one mistake to get him out of Chicago. That's all they want.
And, you know, they traded so much to get him. They traded 2 first-round picks back in the day to get him. I mean, they gave up a lot. They gave up 2 firsts and I forgot the player they gave up.
Maybe they'll go after Brady Quinn. I mean, he was with the Jets for a couple of days now.
He's still with the Jets.
So they re-signed him for bi-weekly contracts, so they don't have to pay him anything else but the veteran minimum salary.
You know
what? If even that much, they'll pay him the $45,000 a week.
You know, even Tim Tebow won a playoff game for the Denver Broncos. So Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Jeff Hofstetler won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I mean, anyone can win, and you know
the right pieces around you. But I put it this way though, honestly, now look at the Giants, the pieces around them. I understand, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying Giants Patriots Super Bowl. Now that talk came out and said, oh, we're going to go 12-0. That's not going to happen.
That was Mr. Roll.
Yes, I'm sorry, Antoine Roll. That's right. Now that's not going to happen.
Justin Tuck's going to punch anyone.
He's the one who says anybody that goes against what Coach Tom Coughlin says or any of his judgments. Now, the Giants' offense, their wideouts. I understand what Tom Brady has. Can you honestly tell me though, the Giants don't have better wideouts?
They have much better wideouts.
Right.
Not only do they have much better wideouts, Brandon Myers is a very good tight end that they're not utilizing.
They're not using him at all. They're not using him at all.
I mean, Martellus Bennett was able to get a 4-year, $16 million contract from the Bears because of what he did with Eli Manning.
And he's doing work.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing work. I mean, last week, if you all play fantasy football out there, last week was not a good week. Depending on how your scoring setup is, you get 1 point last week. That's how most of them were. But I believe it was in week 2 that he went up for 16 points, I believe. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. He was over 100 yards receiving. I mean, the guy was dominant. But, I mean, when you look at the Giants compared to the wideouts with the Patriots, I just don't see it. I think the Giants have better wideouts. And with that being said, can you not put most of the blame actually on Eli for once? A lot of people say don't put the blame on the quarterback because that's the obvious thing to do, is always on the quarterback, always on the offensive line. Not for nothing. I mean, Eli Manning is really proving himself this year, too, and a lot of people have always said about him. He constantly overthrows his receivers, underthrows his receivers, can't hit his targets. He's doing exactly that. Granted, Hakeem Nicks cannot catch a ball. He is dropping every pass thrown to him. Every pass thrown to him. The only guy that they got to start throwing to, double coverage and not, clearly who can catch the ball, is Victor Cruz. That really is the only person who catches the ball on the team.
And Hakeem Nicks, for somebody who really wants a new contract, is really showing he's not worth one. But here's the thing. If you don't have time to throw the ball, you can't throw the ball. Eli Manning is a 3-step drop quarterback. He needs to be able to get 3 steps. He's not getting that with that offensive line. He doesn't have a left guard, a center, a right guard. His right tackle's rotating. His left tackle's not good. Will Beatty allowed 3 sacks, I think, last week.
Yeah.
He's not good. And your blind side is your most important side. If you can't get protection on your blind side, you're not throwing the ball. Victor Cruz had 160 yards last week. It was 160 of 218. He had most of Eli Manning's passing yards last week. But, you can't blame a guy who doesn't have time. At the same time, Eli Manning looks timid. He looks like he was when he first came up after he replaced Kurt Warner. He wasn't. Yeah. He's not that confident guy that won 2 Super Bowls in 2008 and 2011.
The offensive line that you have, though. That's what you're saying, and you're absolutely right with that.
But part of the blame has to fall on Eli. You're right. But part of the blame can fall on David Wilson, Darrell Scott, Brandon Jacobs, and
David Wilson, 130 yards through 4 games. Brandon Jacobs is not. They're not giving him the ball either, and when they do give him the ball, he's Tim Tebow.
You know where Darrell Scott went to school?
Sorry?
You know where Darrell Scott went to school?
No.
University of Maryland. They should play him more.
Wow. Let's get off this topic for just a minute. Just a minute. Let's talk a little baseball here. Last week was a big week in baseball. If you're a Met fan, you're only a little happy now with last week, just because they did happen to retire Mike Piazza's number on the last game of the season, and I believe that was their biggest turnout, almost more than the home opener. I think they had over 40,000 people at the game.
Well, they actually only put him in the Mets Hall of Fame. They haven't retired their number yet because the Mets are too cheap to put something else up on the wall. Wow. They need to wait for the money to come off the books, and then they can spend money again. Madoff, all that nonsense. Yeah, it was actually an excellent... I was there. It was an excellent ceremony. Of course, I wanted to leave right afterwards because who wants to watch Mets baseball?
Right? But it took place afterwards.
No, the ceremony came first and then the game. So if you watch... Evan Roberts of WFAN, he said, I'm going to the ceremony and then leaving immediately. I stayed 4 innings. I was bored. I fell asleep in my chair. And we'll get into this later.
Did you pay for the tickets?
I did. I have 15-pack, and I actually had these games. I actually picked this game out before the season began.
And you paid for that pack?
I was holding out. Well, I paid for the All-Star game, and it just so happened I got.
Well played. I like that. Well played.
So I actually got a phone call from the Mets yesterday asking me if I wanted to go to a new ticket rep. And I said, no, I have my own ticket rep. But what I really wanted to say was there's no way I'm buying tickets ever again. But I'm not going to be that mean to this guy.
Okay. Well, Piazza, I think this should have been done earlier than now. It really should have been done a while ago. To be honest with you, the guy has been retired since 2006.
He retired in 2007.
2007. It's been 6 years. It takes 5 years to get onto the ballot, I believe.
Yep, and this was his first year on the ballot in 2013, and because the voters are atrocious, he did not get in.
The voters are most the writers, who are also mostly D-bags. Mike Piazza, I will tell you this much, being the All-Star MVP back in 1996, the guy jacked out almost 500 home runs. He has over 1,600 RBIs. He's a catcher. You don't see that production from a catcher. Don't even bring into discussion Jorge Posada. Please. I know you won't, as a Met fan that you are. I am a diehard Yankee fan and a diehard hater of Jorge Posada. Although I will say I was at Mariano Rivera Appreciation Day, and for those of you who, for some odd reason, if you didn't see the ceremony at all, it was quite wonderful what they did. Jorge Posada came out for the first pitch, and they decided to change things up a bit. Mariano ended up catching Jorge Posada for the first pitch. Jorge almost threw it into the 5th row behind home plate, which resembled most of what he did behind the plate when throwing to Bernie Williams in center field quite often.
Oh, he took lessons from Chuck Knobloch then.
He did! Yes, he did! Yes. And actually, I heard they all went out to dinner, including the 80-year-old woman that they almost hit.
Keith Olbermann's mother.
So, yeah, that's right, exactly. So Mike Piazza obviously had his day, going from day one where he was the Rookie of the Year, playing at the Los Angeles Dodgers. He had quite the career, played for the Dodgers, played for the Marlins. 1 year in '98, he actually played for all three teams.
Yeah, he spent a week in Florida. I actually read an article.
No, actually, I thought he spent the short time with the Dodgers.
He spent a month and a half with the Dodgers. Got traded on May 15th to the Marlins, and then on May 23rd to the Mets. He spent all of a week. The Marlins traded.
He spent almost 100 games with the Marlins in '98.
To get Piazza, the Marlins traded Gary Sheffield, Jim Eisenreich, and somebody I don't remember. It was another one they were just trying to dump. Marlins were in dump mode, and then they traded him to the Mets a week later because they didn't want to pay him, obviously, for Preston Wilson, Ed Yarnell, and Jeff Getz, 3 winners in life. So Preston Wilson being the son of Mookie Wilson.
Now I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second. I will tell you right now, as you're watching us right now, directly that way is a beautiful 60-inch TV. If you're watching TV, throw on NBC Sports. You're going to see the Chicago Blackhawks, the reigning Stanley Cup champions. They're presenting the Stanley Cup back on the ice again while both teams come out. You have tonight's Washington Capitals versus the Chicago Blackhawks. They had a standout season last year. We'll get to that later in the show. But back to the baseball, though. So we got Mike Piazza.
But, one more thing about Mike Piazza. I understood why it took the Mets so long. Mike Piazza didn't really leave on the best terms with the Mets in 2005. They basically took him out in the 8th inning in 2005, said, hey, we're not re-signing you, just say goodbye to the fans now. And then he spent a year with the Padres, a year with the A's. He had the whole steroid thing. And I think the Mets finally realized when Piazza said he was going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Met, that they kind of had to bring him back to family. Over the past few years, the Mets have finally been reconnecting to their past. In 2010, they inducted Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden into the Mets Hall of Fame. In 2012, they put John Franco in. And now it's time to bring Mike Piazza back to the fold.
So John Franco, it's actually kind of cool. What I thought, I really wish they almost would have commemorated John Franco this year. John Franco, for some of you that don't know, he actually has the most saves of any lefty in baseball, which I believe is 328.
No, I think he's up to. I think he got 320 with the Mets.
Okay.
I think overall he was over 500.
Total.
Yeah.
Career, really.
Yeah.
I did not know because I thought Mariano actually had double what his career totals were.
No, Lee Smith had.
It may have been what I thought with the Mets was what his totals were.
Lee Smith had 478. Trevor Hoffman got over 600, but John Franco
was stuck at 602 or 601 rather.
But John Franco was like a 578 when he retired. He had a lot of saves to the Reds. Again, I think saves are the most overrated category in sports. And when we talk about Mariano in a few minutes, I'll voice my opinion on Mariano's career as a whole. Not that I say he had a bad career, but I think as a whole, his legacy is a little bigger than what it should be for the position he played.
We'll get into talking about the New York Yankees.
Of course.
But with John Franco, though, I will tell you this much: John Franco was a phenomenal pitcher, and in the National League, you don't get that much publicity. It's always with the American League. They got the stronger hitters. They got the better fielding. They just have all the attention on them for years and years and years. And everybody says, oh, this year the National League is going to be they're going to do great. They won the All-Star game. You really can't judge anything on the All-Star game. They come out and they just try to beat the crap out of the ball. So now with the Yankees, though, we're going to get with that. Let's start with Andy Pettitte. Respectfully, we'll end Yankee talk with Rivera. Sorry, as a Met fan.
Makes sense.
Andy Pettitte, he hit 256 wins. That's an astounding number. That's great. A 3.85 ERA. Andy Pettitte was a phenomenal pitcher. Everybody's always going to recognize Andy for when he had that glove over his face, just like this, with the hat covering his eyes and getting stared down. You put me behind the plate looking at that. I don't know what's coming. I don't want to know what's coming. I'll take the 4 pitches and say, hey, maybe it'll be a walk, but chances are it won't because Andy Pettitte had almost 2,500 strikeouts for his career. A stat no one really talks about. I believe he had with 2,450 strikeouts almost. One stat with Andy Pettitte, which I thought is phenomenal, him and Mariano. I don't know what the number is, but it goes without saying, they've gone the most games straight, 1-8. Mariano closed it. back to back to back, game after game after game. Andy throws 8 innings, Mariano comes in, and he closes the game. I know you say you don't like the whole closing and saving position and everything, but you can't tell me that's not a phenomenal stat.
Yeah, you want to know what's also a phenomenal stat with Andy Pettitte? 4. The amount of times he took human growth hormone while he was playing. That's also a phenomenal stat.
You're going there.
I have to. You're proclaiming about Andy Pettitte's great career, but you cannot overlook that. I mean, same with Mike Piazza. He took Andro. It happened. He took it.
But is it something that is really bothering the writers? Is it something that's really been brought to the public's eye?
Well, maybe Mike Piazza, but I think last year when no one was elected into the Hall of Fame, including Craig Biggio, Kings Park's own, in which he didn't get elected, which he was clean. He never took roids, but they didn't elect anyone as a solidarity approach.
A lot of these players are coming into a terrible era. I mean, you're looking at, of course, right now, Bautista, Pujols, Howard. I mean, these players are playing in an era where everybody is looking at what is this guy taking, what is he taking, what are they possibly looking at now saying, okay, clearly they can't test for this, they can't test for that. Let me just come out and say I accidentally took this. I had no idea it was in there.
I mean, to go back to Andy Pettitte, he had an incredible career. He won the most postseason games in history.
1911, he went 1-1 with Houston.
Incredible, and even how he closed it out. He closed it out his last game against Houston, 9 innings. You know what? And when he he put the winning run on base. Joe Girardi came out to him and said, "Can you do it?" He said, "Yeah, I'll take one more." You know, he didn't have Mo behind him, and I never said that I don't like closers. I just think the closer position as a whole is overrated, and I mean. It's not the way it was in the 70s, but again, Andy Pettitte had an incredible career. But if your next question to me is he going to make the Hall of Fame? No.
No, right now, I don't think any player who has the steroids written all over them is going to make the Hall of Fame. Now, I don't want to take this conversation to steroids because over the past couple of years, people have beaten down the steroid issue. So we'll get past that for a second. I will tell you, though, about Andy Pettitte, there's no better way for him to go out than to go out in Houston,
correct,
in front of his family, his friends, go out with a victory nonetheless. You know, could you be more happy if you were him, regardless of what happened in the past? Can you be more happy?
Well, he's made a lot of money in his career. I'm sure he's going to be plenty happy.
God. Money coming from the Mets fan.
Hey.
Off season, what is going to happen locally? The Mets and the Yankees. The Yankees, let's start with the Mets. Forget the Yankees. They're going to be abysmal. They're going to be atrocious. The Mets right now, I gotta say, the Mets have the better farm system. There's no question about that. I think they really have the better farm system.
They have a much better farm system with Noah Syndergaard, Rafael Montero waiting in the wings. I mean, to go along with Dylan G, John Neese, Zach Wheeler, Matt Harvey. We don't know what he's going to do next year. He may pitch. If he pitches, he's going to be great. If he doesn't, well, I think he should get Tommy John surgery. There's enough behind to cover him.
He's young enough. He might as well do it now. I mean, look at Strasburg. Strasburg was smart. He got it done right away. They're still holding the innings limit on him. But, hey, get it done early in your career. I mean, the guy's a stud. He's a simple stud. And he's a Ranger fan.
Yeah, whatever.
And he's a Ranger fan. I love it.
Doesn't matter.
I love it. He went to every Ranger game I was at last year.
No. But, and they also have some good prospects coming up. Travis d'Arnaud, Wilmer Flores. They got that kid in center field, Juan Lagares, who... He threw a ball from deep center field the other day to gun a guy on a fly at home.
Did not touch the ground. Was not even going to land near it.
Ridiculous. That guy throws lasers. He played half the season, led the league in outfield assists. Eric Young played half the season, led the league in stolen bases. They have a...
They're going to come around. They're really going to come around.
Eventually. I mean, they have to. Eventually.
Everybody's going to get the contracts they want. The Mets, they may spend money.
They have $45 million to spend this offseason. Johan Santana and Jason Bay's contracts are both coming off the books, as with Frank Francisco's abysmal 12-year contract. $12 million contract, sorry. They have plenty of money coming off the books. I foresee them trying to sign Shin-Shu Chu in his DUI arrests.
Now, what are they going to do with Matsuzaka?
Well, you know what? If he would come back for a minor league contract, I would love to see him try and fight for a spot. Those last 3 starts were filthy. I mean, look at what Scott Kazmir did with the Cleveland Indians. I know we're going to talk about them a little more in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But look what he did. He was washed up. I mean, that's why Dontrelle Willis stayed with the Dogs. He's trying to get himself back. Dice K couldn't pitch with the Indians AAA team. Came to the Mets, and you know what? Even though he takes 45 million seconds to throw the ball, he's a pretty good pitcher.
Well, you mentioned the Ducks. They won, did they not?
Who cares?
But they won.
They did win. That's why we
that's why we get the Ducks out there.
Right there. They did win the Atlantic League Championship, and you know what? It's great for guys like Lou Ford, Ramon Castro, Dontrell Willis.
He was with them when they won.
Yep, Leo Rosales got the save, former KC farmhand.
And you had Vladimir Guerrero, who was not there.
He never made it. He never played.
He was not there, and there was all this talk about him, how he was going to go over there, and he was going to be their next star player and attract so many people to Central Islip, which nonetheless, that's a beautiful field.
It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful stadium. If you haven't been out there, you got to get out there. You know, you don't have to show up early. The parking is there. Just get there and have fun. The food is great. The burgers are to die for.
Just don't leave the park. You may get killed. May, possible. It's very possible. You may.
It's all right though. They may find him because right there is a jail. How do you like having a jail next to a baseball
and two courthouses?
And two courthouses. There you go. You'll find your lawyer on the corner, just like you would people in front of Home Depot.
Very easy to get arraigned.
Yeah,
but you know, back to the Mets offseason. I think they have money to spend. They have a protected pick, so they can sign anyone without losing their first. That was a big deal last year.
Yes.
But you know, going back to the Yankees, I really don't think that they are in as dire straits as you think they are. I mean, I personally, if I was a Yankee fan, I would pray that Joe Girardi comes back. But you know what?
He's gonna come back. I know what you take. You can tell him what you take.
I think that the Cubs are going to try and woo him. Granted, they are looking at top managerial prospects like A.J. Hinch, who couldn't cut it with the Arizona Diamondbacks. There's really not much else out there. I really think that Joe Girardi, hometown boy from Chicago, played many years with the Cubs.
But that's it right there. That's it right there. His hometown is Chicago. Now, you know, why is Girardi going to want to go anywhere near Chicago right now? He has his family settled here. Both his parents, from what I actually heard today on the radio, both his parents are actually unfortunately passed away. They live back in Chicago. He has no family back in Chicago. Granted, he started his managerial career with the Cubs. But here is where his life is. He's married here with his family. He has, I believe, 2 boys. And they go to school here in New York. There's no reason for all of a sudden to pick up and move. The Yankees are going to want to keep him. There's no one really in the market right now that the Yankees are saying, you know what, we're going to drop Joe Girardi and say we're going to go out for, you know, whoever else is out there right now. That's just not going to happen.
But here's the issue with being in the Yankees. You have a dysfunctional owner in Hal Steinbrenner.
Absolutely. I can't disagree.
You got a GM who, him and the president, Randy Levine, don't get along, and you can tell with all their trades, who is running the team? You have no freaking idea what direction.
Randy Levine wants the spotlight more than Steinbrenner does. Randy, he's the one who's not any chance he gets.
What about Cashman? You have your GM who is getting overruled on half the trades he tries to make. You have Robinson Cano, who wants $305 million over 10 years and doesn't deserve it.
Now he's asking that. You can ask whatever you want.
Yeah, but this is what he's expecting. And you know what? He won't get it.
No.
But he's going to get somewhere in the vicinity. And you know what? If I was a Yankee fan, I don't want him back. He's the reason you guys lost Mariano Rivera Day. If he knows how to run, if he hustles, he's safe. He's safe at home, and they tied the game, and we don't have to worry about that.
It's really hard to disagree with you. It really is. At the same time, though,
you need talent, and talent. Yeah. There's not much out there in free agency. Hunter Pence just re-signed for 5 years, $90 million. There's not much out there. Ellsbury's a top free agent that's coming out this offseason. There's not much left. You guys need Cano, but do you really want to pay him? You already have so many bad contracts with Teixeira. A-Rod.
Yeah.
You're still paying Vernon Wells, even though
A-Rod's up in the air right now because his trial just started yesterday.
Yes, but you still have so many bad contracts. You have Jeter still. You have.
Well, he's got his options. He has his options.
You have Sabathia. You're going to have to pay Brett Gardner soon. You're going.
Absolutely.
You guys.
Granderson's is coming up too.
Well, Granderson's a free agent.
Yeah, he's coming up.
He may not be back.
Yeah, absolutely.
He may not be back.
If
I was him, though, I'd take a 1-year deal with the Yankees and try and slug 40 homers again and try and leave and get a big-time contract. He was hurt all this year.
Yeah.
It really sucked to be Curtis Granderson this year.
You'll look at the reason why I think the Yankees are really going to want to keep Cano around is, for example, you look at Nunez. It's taken Nunez year after year to really come around. And for the Yankees to really have that confidence in him, the fans to have that confidence in him, the guy's finally coming around. He's starting to hit pretty well over the past couple of years. His fielding is reliable. Robbie Cano, I understand on offense, if the ball is not dropping in the middle somewhere, if it's not going out of the park, yeah, he's not going to hustle. It's something that us Yankee fans don't like. We don't appreciate it. We hate it. We can't stand it. But to have someone play second base that has that chemistry with Derek Jeter, that once Derek Jeter leaves, he's going to be able to build that confidence and that chemistry with someone else at shortstop, whoever it may be. We have a couple coming through the ranks right now. He's very, like I said, nonchalant. And
nonchalant does not describe it.
But when he's in the field, God, it's beautiful when he's in the field. He's just always there. He doesn't have to run to the ball. He's going to make the beautiful play. He's, one of the few times he's going to cause an error. I understand that.
One? I saw him do 3-in-1 game once. The thing about
Let's get back to the Mets now.
But the thing about Cano is, do you want your young guys like Eduardo Nunez learning to play baseball from Robinson
behind someone
Cano?
like that? You're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right.
Do you want someone to teach somebody who is lazy? Lazy is the word to describe Robinson Cano, not nonchalant. It's lazy.
You're absolutely right.
The guy dogs it more than anyone I know. I play beer league softball, and quite frankly, I'm hustling from base to base. I'm not getting paid jack shit. But you know what? I'm playing a kid's game. This guy is making so much money, and he is lazy. He doesn't run to first. No manager puts up with him, but Joe Girardi does, which is a problem in itself. There are managers like Mike Redmond. They bench those guys. Terry Collins doesn't put up with that crap. They bench him. You don't hustle, you're sitting. You got to show you try. The Yankees organization has coddled these players for years. You know what? Mariano Rivera is leaving. Andy Pettit's leaving. These guys with class, they are leaving. You're going to pretty soon have your base of Yankees of Robinson Cano and CC Sabathia. You're going to have those two guys be the forefront of the Yankee organization with A-Rod. That is scary.
If Derek Jeter is going to leave after next year, he has to leave with a note to all the players that are currently on their roster going down to the minor leagues. When I leave, you guys come up. And to the guys that are already there, you guys are going to take over. He does not want to leave and all of a sudden see the Yankees go to shambles. He does not want to see that. Granted, that may be a part of him, and this may be something terrible to say. He may honestly not care what happens with the Yankee organization afterwards, because Derek Jeter's goal, when he retires, he wants to own a franchise. He wants to have his own baseball team, whoever that may be. Now, however, Derek Jeter's out of the picture, so obviously he's not going to be the Mr. November that we knew of. But speaking of November, playoffs, baseball playoffs. Last night we had the first play-in game, which was between the Rays and the Rangers. And Longoria, quietly throughout the entire season, he's probably the most clutch hitter in baseball. He's been the most, jacked out the game-winning home run, turned out to be.
When healthy, Evan Longoria is by far one of the best players in baseball. The only problem with Evan Longoria is he's never healthy.
Yeah.
He knows how to run, he knows how to do everything, but he just can't stay healthy. But last night was not really about Longoria. Granted, he had the game-winning, the home run. That game was about David Price.
Oh, my God.
He was filthy, and you know what? He definitely brought back to his days in college, in which he just threw complete game after complete game. And you know what? Good job by Joe Madden and not going to that bullpen. They got a tough game tomorrow against Cleveland. And, they have Danny Salazar going for Cleveland, that 23-year-old rookie who's had an excellent first season. And it's going to be a tough game. They're going to need everything. And, not having to use Joel Peralta, who's been their best reliever all year. Jake McGee has been crap. And Fernando Rodney, who is as trustworthy as Rafael Soriano. They really need to save their bullpen for tomorrow. It's going to be a very interesting game. Personally, I think Tampa Bay is going to pull through.
I got to interrupt you and tell you, I think computers are the worst thing in the world.
Oh, computers are by far the worst thing in the world.
I don't know how to work them.
Well,
I'm 28 years old, I don't know how to work a computer.
Well, for those who are interested, it looks like Pittsburgh is up 2-0 on Cincinnati in the second. And, we could talk about that game for a few seconds.
I'm sorry. Before we get into them, I just saw the image pop up. Giambi. I have to bring this to the attention. The shot that Giambi had 5 nights ago, come on. The guy does not give up. He's going at it still. Here's another one. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame. He's always been brought up on HGH, steroids, this, that. It doesn't matter. He's the one guy right now, the last guy right now from this whole entire era that's around. Really, he really is. He's got a great beard. Looks like Colonel Sanders, and he's hitting the ball like he's ripping leather.
He almost retired at the end of the year. The Rockies wouldn't get the manager job.
Exactly.
They went with Walt Weiss, and you see what happens. Giambi is in the playoffs again.
Yep.
But personally, I think Cleveland's magical run will end tomorrow. I think they have. I'm not sure who's going for Tampa Bay tomorrow. Obviously, it's not Price and it's not Matt Moore, but
if I knew how to work a computer, I'd tell you.
Their pitching staff is very good, and their bullpen is great. And you know what? Danny Salazar's a 23-year-old kid. We saw what the 23-year-old kid and Martin Perez did yesterday for the Texas Rangers, and honestly, he really did not live up to what he's done during the regular season.
What do you want to know?
Process. Who's pitching tomorrow for Tampa Bay?
Tomorrow, you have Cobb and Salazar.
Alex Cobb has had an incredible year, minus the fact that he got decked. He got hit in the head by that line drive and was out for a few months. But he's had an incredible season. He's really turned into what the Tampa Bay Rays thought they had when they shipped off James Shields in the offseason for Will Myers. That was the reason they did it. They shipped off Wade Davis and James Shields to get a hitting prospect like Will Myers, knowing they had Alex Cobb behind. And he's really not disappointed this year. I see that on your sheet, you have Cleveland going to the ALCS, knocking off Oakland. I don't think they get out of the wild card round.
I have zero proof behind this. This is what I call just a gut shot. This is just a simple gut shot.
You've been having too much chicken and beer with Terry Francona.
I have. Yes, exactly. I mean, you look at Cleveland. Cleveland is borderline identical to the Pirates. They are just terrible. The past 15 years, they're nothing. I think Cleveland I think their best years was actually in the movie Major League.
No, they made it to the World Series in '97.
Oh, that's right. Against the Marlins. Absolutely. Pretending that never happened, their best years was in the movies.
That's a great movie.
Yes, exactly.
You better get off the track. The train comes through.
You have no balls. I do actually have going to the NLCS. I do have the Pirates and the Dodgers. The Pirates are another team I compare a lot to Cleveland. They're two teams that I think they're going to go with their heart. It's just terrible for people to say that, and I will admit to that. But I honestly feel like the Pirates have a lot to play for. They finally, after I think it was 19 years, a winning season.
No, it was 21.
21 years, finally have a winning season. There's no way they're going to want to go into the first round and say, hey, let's lose our way out of this one. They're going to want to show up. They're going to want to play. They're going to want to make the fans happy. They've been disappointed for year after year. Cleveland, same exact thing. And especially with Giambi. Giambi's going to want to go out hard. He thought he was going to go out, like you said, with the Rockies and get that position. Clearly that didn't happen. And it's going to want to be a slap in the face for him saying, you know what, you didn't want to bring me back. You don't want me as manager. Clearly I can produce still. Bring it on. Let's do it. I think the Pirates are going to end up playing the Dodgers in the NLCS, and the Cleveland Indians will be playing the Detroit Tigers in the ALCS. With Detroit, I mean, their pitching is just... they're going to shut Cleveland down. They're going to absolutely... If Cleveland makes it, they're going to destroy them. They're hitting. They're pitching. Everything about them, Detroit is going to take it. But I will say the Dodgers will come up, and the Dodgers will prevail in 6 in the World Series.
Well, I'm going to go a little differently. Honestly, in the NLCS, it's the Dodgers and everybody else. It doesn't make a difference who the Dodgers play. They're going to make it to the World Series. They are the much better team. And you know what? Everyone forgets when Don Manley was almost fired at the end of May because they were in last place. Everyone forgets that. But now look at him, and he's going to the World Series this year. Pirates-Cardinals is going to be a great matchup. I really think those two rivals are going to go at it. It's going to be an excellent matchup. With them announcing Lance Lynn starting Game 2, I think the Pirates can actually steal a game in St. Louis before going back. It's going to be a tough series. The Pirates have great pitching. Francisco Liriano going today hurts. I mean, he may not be available to Game 3 or Game 4, and so you're relying off A.J. Burnett and Jeff Locke.
A.J. has played great since he's gone to the Pirates. He has just said, you know what, screw what happened in the past. Clearly, he was a guy who couldn't play under the pressure of being in New York, like most players can. A lot of people bring that conversation into play, and you know what? It's true. There's no way around it. A lot of people and players, they can't play. Coaches, they can't coach. No one can really do what they're expected when you're put into a position of being in front of the New York media. You can't hold that, and New York fans.
I agree, But again, I'm not doubting A.J. Burnett. I'm doubting what's behind him. I mean, they don't have much. Their bullpen's great. Melanson and Grilli have been an incredible bullpen. Melanson, another guy who had a hard time pitching anywhere besides Pittsburgh. But their fairy tale season's ending probably in the NLDS to the Cardinals. In the AL, I personally believe that's going to be Oakland's year. I think Oakland has finally done something right. They have great pitching. They have great hitting. Josh Donaldson, I mean, I'm not a big advanced sabermetrics guy, but 8.1 WAR playing third base. This guy was brought up as a catcher, failed there, went to third base, and became one of the best players in baseball, probably a top 5 MVP candidate. He's been incredible. I mean, they have a pretty good draw. I mean, they played Detroit in the ALCS, most likely. And the Detroit's had a great year. They have the MVP most likely in Miggy. They have the AL Cy Young and Max Scherzer. And they have,
Correa was close to winning again this year.
Yep,
he was close, and then he got hurt.
Well, I mean, I still think he's got the stats to win. I don't think Mike Trout's going to win. I don't think Chris Davis has got it. But, I mean, Detroit's just an excellent team. They have Prince Fielder, Victor Martinez, Justin Verlander. I mean, come on. And the team that I'm naming Justin Verlander 5th on a team, it's a pretty impressive team. I think that Oakland just has enough this year. They're pissed off about last year losing in the first round in 5 games, in which Oakland actually probably should have beaten Detroit in that first round. They did not. I think revenge is out. I think Oakland's going to pull it off. I think it's going to be Oakland and Dodgers in the World Series, which means everyone from the Pacific time zone on will not care.
That's very true.
It's not going to matter. The World Series will be lower than Midwestern country, Detroit, Houston in 2005. No one's going to care. And yes, everyone forgets Houston was in the World Series in 2005 with Andy Pettitte and Roger Clemens.
That was with the Killer Bees.
Yes.
The Killer Bees, baby. We're going to bump this segment over now to fantasy football and anything else to do with football. We're gonna pretty much work our way towards closing out the show here. The local games, the Falcons. I personally have the Falcons going over the Jets at least by 2 scores. The Jets secondary is not going to hold up to what Matty Ice is going to do. It's just not going to happen. And the Jets clearly were hurt by letting Revis go. Well, they weren't really let go, but
they got a good. It was a good trade. It was a very good trade for him.
They've just been hurt by it. You know, their secondary is now exposed. They're going after Cromartie. Any chance they can go with them?
Well, they're really going after the other guy. I mean, Cromartie actually has really, since the beginning of last year, has really turned into what everyone thought he was going to be in San Diego, and he is a shutdown corner. Not as good as Revis. Not as good as Richard Sherman. Not as good as Patrick Peete.
Not as good this year as I gotta say is Talib from
Patriots.
Talib
has always been a good cornerback. He was a great cornerback with Tampa Bay. He was only traded for a 7th-round pick due to his disciplinary issues.
So he's getting that exposure, you're saying, because he's with Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not denying that. That's what I feel.
Cromartie has turned into a great cornerback, and he really has shown that he's a good player for the team. It's really the other side. Kyle Wilson can't stop getting penalties. He had 4 in a row against Buffalo 2 weeks ago. Darren Walls, who they had replace him, I don't even know who the hell he was before this year. D. Milner, the 1st-round pick out of Alabama, really hasn't been able to show he's able to transition himself to pro ball. I mean, they don't have a second side. The safeties are fine. Cromartie's fine. I mean, but whoever's going to be on the second cornerback is going to just roast him.
Yeah. Absolutely. The Eagles and the Giants. I hate to continue with the pattern of the Giants going 0-4. I don't think they're going to show up. They're going to be at home. The first mistake they make, they are going to get booed out of the building. It's going to be loud. Eli's going to lose his head, and he's going to be that deer caught in headlights that everybody thinks he is. He's not going to know what to do with himself. If they use David Wilson, he is not going to be productive. The Eagles are 1-3, and it's a great matchup. If the Giants do happen to win this game, you can expect the Broncos beating down the Cowboys. What do you got here? The Giants are somehow still within the division, and they can still take it. It's not going to happen at all. What do you think about the Giants, though?
Well, the NFC least is really living up to its name this year. They are all pathetic.
I love how you slipped that in there.
But...
You're slurring your words for me. Wait, I know this is our first show and all, but
I got rid of the speech impediment a long time ago.
Okay, 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, something like that. But the thing about the Giants is I really think they're going to win this week. I think Peyton and Eli probably had a heart-to-heart during the week because Peyton just destroyed the Eagles. And you know what? I think the Giants have as good of a receiving core as the Broncos do. Granted, they don't have as good of a quarterback. Peyton is much better. And I'll stop saying much now. But I
don't even want you to bring in 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVP.
Doesn't matter.
I love the Giants. I love them. I can do without Eli other than the 2-minute drill. Okay? Any other time, I don't want Eli on the field. Give me the 2-minute drill. I want nobody else. A lot of people say Tom Brady. Tom Brady for the 2-minute drill.
He's choked.
That's all he's done.
He's
Everybody
choked
says,
in
"Oh no,
2008." He's choked
absolutely."
Everyone sees 2001, in which he drove them down for the Vinatieri field goal to win the game over the Rams.
Yeah, exactly.
And they think that's it, but no, he's been a choke artist the
Absolutely.
entire way through.
They look at his name on a piece of paper. They says, "Oh no, I want Tom Brady." Guess what? Who's had the most fourth quarter comebacks? Not total since 2008. It's actually been Matty Ice having the most fourth quarter comebacks.
I thought it was Mark Sanchez.
But no. Wow, and that gets us back to the Jets, which you do have something funny here. I don't know if this is going to play, but let's give it a go. I hope that sounds like garbage.
I can't have the Jets singing "We Are the Champions" on this show. I'm sorry, it'll never happen. But back to what I'm saying. Giants are going to win this week. They'll go to 1-4, and the Cowboys are going to get shellacked.
Yeah,
and
it's in Dallas too.
It's Cowboys.
And you know what? That's where Peyton's going to have the advantage. It's basically an indoor game.
It is.
I don't care about the hole at the top. I don't really care about that. And you know, it's an indoor game, and that's where Peyton he loves it all. We're just going to move along real quick here. Take the fantasy picks for the good players if you got them out there. If they're on the waiver wire, which the ones we're going to name are not going to be on the waiver wire. Just make sure you play them. If you agree, I got Matty Ice, especially Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, with what he's been doing with Wes Welker. Phillip Rivers quietly has 11 touchdowns. Let's forget what he did a couple of weeks ago at the end of the game. Never mind that. You're looking at a good matchup there. LaShawn McCoy going against the Giants. You're going to want to have that. Bradshaw for the Colts. Now, they do have now Richardson. We didn't get into that.
I'm going to disagree with you, though, on Bradshaw. He was hurt last week, didn't even suit up. He's been injured. Even if he comes back, Richardson was able to got a touchdown, had some good running lanes against Jacksonville last week. Then again, I'm pretty sure I can get good running lanes against Jacksonville.
Well, for my personal fantasy team, I love the pick that I had. I picked up the Colts defense.
Me
You
too,
picked up the
me
Colts
too.
defense last week. That was a great choice. The bad people you don't want to go with is, as I know from my own team, the law firm. You can all make fun of me for having him. He's been a letdown, especially since they had Bernard on their team. The law firm, Andrew Luck, you do not want to play Andrew Luck this week. That's honestly how I feel. Don't play him.
He's playing Seattle. I would not want to put anyone up against Seattle.
Absolutely. Eli Manning, you know where we stand on Eli Manning, the G-Men-D, that goes without saying. And Ray Rice. Ray Rice has been nothing but a letdown this year.
He looks hurt. Something is wrong. He didn't even catch a ball last week, which is not normal.
In a PPR league, if you have him, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt.
Should probably take him higher because he was in a PPR league, and that's just not working out.
As far as the sleeper games go, we know the Rosses and what's going on here. Personally, I have the Jaguars. The Jaguars are going to get their first win. If I had a Jaguars jersey, I'd wear it right now. I'd wave the banner. And if they lose, I would also not appear on next week's show, which will also be next Tuesday, October 8th at 8 p.m. But the Jaguars will get their first win.
I agree. I really think the Jaguars can win. I think I think that if they don't win this week, there's really nothing else. The St. Louis Rams barely beat the Cardinals. They got shellacked by the Cowboys. They got shellacked by the 49ers, in which they look bad all
Now, that's also the word of the week. If you haven't caught it already, shellacked apparently is the word of the week.
I woke up this morning, I looked at my word of the day calendar, and it said shellacked.
Now, that picture of you sent me this morning, you look shellacked. You did not send me a picture. We're going to break it down a little bit here, and as you can see in the front here, there's 1994 Craig McTavish jersey behind us.
That?
There's also, I'm sorry, who's that Islander jersey you got, Ben? Is that Yashin? Is he still on the Islanders payroll right now? We're going to talk some hockey.
Nobody cares about hockey, Jimmy.
If we were trademarked, we'd be sued for saying that.
Thankfully, we are not.
Local teams, Islanders, the New Jersey, the Brooklyn, where are the Islanders playing now?
They're playing at the Coliseum.
Oh, they are.
They're still there.
But they still have a contract, I believe, for the next 25 years in Brooklyn. But they're going to play 6 games.
Well, they're in Nassau until 2015. Then they signed a 25-year deal with Brooklyn, in which they'll get 6 games.
6 games, right. Back at the Coliseum we're talking about, because the project went through, and they're going to renovate the Coliseum.
And for the record, this game has been interesting. Ovechkin just scored his first goal, and then 5 seconds later, Kane came back and put it right in.
Now, Patrick Kane, he had a phenomenal season last year. You have shellacked, I have phenomenal. That's the word I'm using tonight. Last year, I was actually fortunate enough to go to Game 5 of the Blackhawks versus the Kings, in which Patrick Kane had the double overtime goal. The Kings scored 9.4 seconds left in the third period. Everybody was shocked in Chicago, and United Center did not know what to do with themselves. The first overtime, you can hear a pin drop. No one was cheering. They were just all scared, and all of a sudden Patrick Kane came out in the second overtime and said, we're going to the Cup Finals, and we're going to win it. We started off the 27-game unbeaten streak, and that's how we're going to end the season. We're going to win the Cup. We're going to take it from here. Chicago is going to be another team this year, amongst many. Of course, Pittsburgh will be up there. Chicago's going to be a very strong team this year. They really didn't lose too much, and they're going to be strong this year, I feel, honestly.
I agree. But let's go back to the New York teams. We got a few minutes left. Let's close out with this. Who do you think is going to have the better season this year? I mean, the Rangers and Islanders both pretty much fought for the 7th and 8th seed last year. The Rangers ended up getting the luckier draw, and they did pretty well in the playoffs. Islanders lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6, which was a really great series. Everyone on the Islanders team is getting older, 1 year older. And the Rangers have a new head coach. I mean, I know you were happy to...
Sorry, you say everybody. I have to bring DiPietro into the picture.
DiPietro's no longer on.
I think he's getting 5 years older a year as he spends more time in the hospital.
He is no longer on the team, so we don't have to worry about him.
Thank God for them.
I mean, the Rangers now a new coach, Alain Vigneault. They got rid of Tortorella, which I'm sure you're happy about.
I am thrilled about it. Bringing in Alain Vigneault now, a lot of the Ranger fans out there, they have their opinion. Alain Vigneault, to me, finishing top 5 every year he was with Montreal, both in the power play and the penalty kill, bringing that skill level along right to Vancouver, doing the same thing. Now in both cities, those cities were die-hard hockey. They did not want to take failure. That was not going in that direction at all. So that kind of helped out Vigneault coach his team along. Plus the fact that both teams, since then until now, they have better talent than the Rangers. Either way, it was nice to see basically a trade Vigneault for Tortorella. Tortorella just could not get along with the team, could not get that chemistry going. He just wanted to constantly do the dump and chase. This is 2013, not 1994. Dump and chase was great then. It brought along the most boring Ranger Devils games. Mm-hmm. But dump and chase does not work anymore. You have to bring that puck into the zone. You need to shoot. Rangers, year in and year out, constantly cannot hit the broadside of the barn. And when they try to, they just miss the net anyways. They can't take a shot. I gotta be honest, even with this jersey on, I think the Islanders are going to have a stronger season. The Islanders should have actually had the MVP on their team last year in John Tavares. They have a young core with Okposo. Okposo's been quiet, really, since he got drafted. But, I mean, with the coaching staff the Islanders have, they have a strong power play unit. I don't care what ranking they were. That is one team, I will say, that team is full of Ryan Callahans. All they do around is they hustle. And Matt Molson is actually one of my favorite hockey players. I gotta say that too.
Well, that's because you're just like Molson.
That is also true, as we are enjoying a couple of Molson brews here. So I feel the Islanders will prevail as far as between the two teams. Keeping it local, actually, the Devils. The Devils bringing in Jaromir Jagr.
But that wasn't even the most interesting move they did this offseason. Trading their first-round pick to get Corey Schneider, knowing full well that they had Marty Brodeur for at least one more season.
And his son.
Which was a very touching moment.
That was a very classy draft move.
But, I'm not going to lie, though. If there's one thing I've learned through my years of watching hockey is to never doubt Lou Lamoriello. He has always been a genius when it comes to everything. And you can't doubt the guy who's won how many Stanley Cups?
I think he actually took all 3.
Yeah, I think he's taken all 3.
I think he has.
You cannot doubt it. He fired his head coach middle of the year. He fired Jacques Martin. It was Jacques Martin. And he took that bench. He took him to the Stanley Cup that year.
That's it. As an 8 seed.
Yeah.
As an 8 seed going against LA.
I mean, LA beat them, but LA was a better team.
Well, they shellacked them.
It was just phenomenal.
Yes, exactly.
But this is just one move that I just don't get. And Corey Schneider's a great goal. And another move by Vancouver, I don't understand. Corey Schneider's a great goaltender. Why are you trading him over your malcontent in Luongo? It just doesn't make any sense. And for the first-round pick, I understand. You get a proven commodity in Schneider, he was excellent. But you're going to have him and Marty split time? Who's that fair to?
I honestly, I don't think they're going to split that much time.
So you basically traded the 9th overall pick for a backup goalie.
I mean, okay, we do have... Last year was a shortened season.
Yes.
Okay, now I understand that. So it's going to be quite the test for Brodeur this year. There's nothing about that. It's going to be a test for Brodeur to actually play a full season. And like you said, they do have Schneider. Now, I'm looking at seeing Brewer possibly playing close to 50 games this year. He's not going to do his typical 60-plus. That's not going to happen. Schneider's not going to stand for that. There's going to be controversy. And, especially within a bankrupt organization, they're going to want to have some sort of team chemistry with the players and the owners and the management. I see Brewer playing above 50 games.
All right. So, as we come to the end of our show, quickly, do you have any short rants for us?
If there's something that I have to rant about, God, it's got to be the Giants. I'm not going to lie, the Giants. They're one team I don't want to watch this week. If I see them on, I might throw the 60-inch TV out the window. To see Eli, I can't stand Eli. I've hated him since day one. I haven't had a dime of confidence in Eli Manning. Again, the 2-minute drill, that's great. Eli, get him the hell out of here. I don't want him anymore. I will take David Carr. Call me an idiot for that. I don't care. But you know what? Eli Manning, I can't stand. He's throwing those 9 interceptions. He has a total of 11 turnovers. He's leading the league in that category. I'm not surprised. This is the Eli I've finally been waiting for, and finally I'm seeing it. The guy's going to have another 20-plus turnover season. Do not watch the Giant game. Don't even watch them for the next 3 weeks. Seriously, don't watch them. They're not going to recoup after playing in Chicago next week. Don't watch them. Plain and simple.
We're going to post on the Facebook page a trivia question. What size TV does Jimmy have? I think he said it like 5 or 6 times throughout this broadcast. If you ever want to take a look at ranting during the week, come check us out on Jimmys Rants on Facebook. That's JIMMY''S. Rants, RANTS. Come find us on Facebook. We'll be back next Tuesday with another hour of some sports. For Jimmy here, I'm Steve. This is the Weekly Rant. Have a good night.
Take it easy, everybody.